All right, so we're back. We got great audio. Welcome to the lunchtime video. So let's continue troubleshooting this problem where I can't automatically back up my configs. So where we left off last, we were configuring ISIS. So let's continue with that. You can see I'm almost there. I've just got to configure the devices. So let's take each device one at a time and go through and make sure everything's wired up right, everything's configured right, and be real thorough with everything. Don't leave anything to assumed. So this is correct. It's router 1. It's got everything configured. Yep, it's got the right INET address. It's got the right ISO address. All the interfaces are added properly, so everything's good to go with that. Let's check router 3. So same thing here. We've got 3 addresses configured. We're all going to do .2. Yep, everything looks good. Let's do a show route protocol ISIS. So, yep, everything's good. We've got so it looks like we are going to have some issues with routers 4 and 5, but we'll get to those eventually. Right now, we're going to check router 2, even though it did seem like router 2 was just fine. But we'll just check it over just because. Not a lot of time lost. So, yep, everything, of course, looks good. We didn't even need to check that because of the routing table on router 3. Okay, so here's where we might have some problems. So the configuration, as far as I can tell, looks decent. Let's make sure that we can ping across the wire. We know that the other side is going to be .2 on both of them. Don't need to include the subnet mask when you ping. Okay, so that's not working, so let's do a show route on that. So it's direct. Let's see if the port is up. Port is up, so this is kind of an interesting problem here. Let's do a show int description. So it looks like router 1 is meant to go to router 3. Let's verify that wiring. So this is going to be named, I wish I could see it. Yeah, C. So this is routing engine C. So yep, sure enough, that is router 1. So everything is named correctly. Let's go back over to router 3 and make sure that the port to router 4 is up. So we're going to do a show int descriptions up, and we can see that the port is down. Not sure why. It's admin up, the link is down. So let's just try deleting the link and recreating it. And it's going to be GE002 to GE001. Yeah, that can happen in GNS sometimes. You just have links randomly not coming up. Okay, so but now we're good to go. It's just kind of virtualization. You typically don't get those kind of issues when you do physical. So of course there is a trade-off between physical and virtualization. But I definitely think virtualization is the way to go nowadays. Okay, so everything looks perfect. So we know that router 5 is going to be perfect too. But let's just make sure we've got all the loopbacks for 1 to 4. We're not going to have, oh yeah. So we've got all the loopbacks of the 4 other routers. We've got all the routes that are not directly connected. You'll see we don't have route 4, but that's because it's a directly connected route. So it's not going to make the table because the administrative distance is 0, whereas it's 15 for ISIS. We might actually have it. No, okay, yeah, it's just not gonna make it. So yeah, everything's perfect. Let's see now if we can make a special file and transfer it over to the Ubuntu server. I have a feeling we will be able to do that. So file list. So let's do a show configuration, pipe save. This is going to be test file. And now we've got the test file here. So let's do a let's do a file copy test file. And now it's going to be to the Ubuntu server. Oops, still got a problem here. Oh, you can see I used the wrong username. So let's fix that. Oops. Aha, so file not found, no access. Let's try specifying a better path. Oh, yeah, still a problem here. File unavailable, file not found, no access, which is an interesting error message because, you know, it looks like it's saying that we're trying to fetch a file from here, but, you know, the idea is to not fetch a file, it's to push this file up to here. So it could be just that we're using the wrong command. That would be, make things a lot easier if that were the case. But typically that's not how it works. You would, yeah, typically that's not how it's gonna work. So do I need to change the permission on the file maybe? So change permission, test file, permission, 777, just like Linux it looks like. So hopefully this will work. Nope, file not found, file unavailable, even though the file is right there. List. Oh, okay, so let's try giving it a full path. Oops. Oops, not test, it's gonna be root. Oh, still nothing. So yeah, it's really interesting error. Error put file failed. Let's Google this. I don't think I've Googled this error message yet. But yeah, really interesting error there. Sorry about that. Political stuff. I want this channel to be purely about technical things, not anything else. So let's see here. Yeah, why did this fail? So transferring a file. Yeah, so this is what I thought, is that you'd be copying. So here's how you would copy a file from a remote server down to the Juniper, but we want to push a file from the Juniper over to a remote server. So I thought you could just switch this, but obviously that's not working for us. So yeah, so why is this working? This not working, I mean. And these are all, of course, with path file. So do we need to give it a file name? Is that why? Nope, that's not it. So file unavailable, file not found, no access. But we can, it's really strange because we can go, we can do a file show test file, and we see the file is found there. So it looks like it's not finding a file on the remote server, but I mean, we're not saying to find a file on the remote server, we're saying to send a file over to the remote server. So the fact that there's a file unavailable on the remote server is the whole point of what we're trying to do. We're trying to send a file over. So it's for there to be an error that the file is not found doesn't make sense in this context, because what we want to do is send the file over. So none of these seem to be sending a file from a Juniper device to a Linux server. So yeah, let's see what information we've got for this file copy here. Maybe we just can't use, yeah, here we go. So maybe we're not using super user account. I thought we were though. Yeah, let's do a start shell and then do this command here. So, but we can see, yep, we've got full permissions on this file. So it's not a problem of the local file. It's a problem of something on the remote end, which is interesting because I thought we had the remote end set up well. Maybe let's double check the config file. So we're going to do a cat etc bsftpd.conf, and hopefully the write is still commented out. So run standalone can either run from an init or as a standalone daemon. Started from, so I'm not sure if we need that. This is nice. Default. Loosen things up a bit. Yeah, so I think it's just our default settings are too restrictive here. I think that's the problem. Local users, let's see here. Unit mask default for local users. I don't know what a umask is. Yeah, let's allow anonymous. I'm sure these are not recommended settings, but let's go down to line 23 and enable anonymous. Yes. Yeah, and let's enable a anonymous upload, make directory. Let's just eliminate as much permissions restrictions as possible. Yeah, it's kind of too bad. But okay, I think hopefully this is good. Oops, and I forgot to enable it with, yep, so it's read only, of course. I wonder if there's a way to escalate permissions once you're already in there. It probably is, because I can't imagine that really high-level Unix users would be okay closing and reopening it every time. Like, I think a lot of things in Linux are really, really usable and really nice for people who know a lot about it. I mean, I'll admit that I'm kind of a Windows user. I've used Windows my whole life. I haven't really used Windows or used Linux outside of things specific to work stuff. But I mean, I'm using Linux now. Let's see here. So okay. CP banner. So where was that thing I wanted to do? It's going to be, yeah, let's enable just about everything we can. Local enable, yep. Anonymous, let's do anonymous, yes. Okay. And now that we've got sudo, we can do that. Let's try to do a, let's try to restart the daemon. Oh, okay, so now hopefully we got better luck. Nothing, still same error, same everything. Just no luck at all. And I can include the password here instead of having to type it out every time. This is the typical experience I've gotten with FTP. I usually use, oh, it worked. Okay, well, I'm happy with that. So obviously the problem was, well, I mean, we kind of made some extra changes without testing the ones we made before, but the ones we made before were in a similar vein. We just had the configuration of FTP locked down too much, and we needed to allow extra permissions in order to have the file transfer through. But now we can see that we've got that test file there. So you can see just how nice that is. Another thing we can do is specify the directory that we want it in. So if we make a special directory for router 3, now when we go back here and do an ls, now we've got a directory for router 3. Oh no, sorry, we've got a, oh, that's just the name we decided to 3. I thought there was a way to make a directory. I guess there isn't. Yeah, so, okay, so well, I mean, the good news is it's working. We can't really choose the file name, and we can't choose which directory to put it into, unfortunately. But I mean, just having it go anywhere at all is a huge improvement over what we had before. So I think this is a good enough victory. So now let's explore that configuration that allows for automatic backups. So I'm going to go back and look at the archival command. Configure private and edit system archival configuration, archive sites, set FTP. GNS3 is the password, so we'll include that. Actually, we can include that afterward with a special keyword password, and then it'll be encrypted in our running config too, and our candidate config. So definitely a better option there. Okay, so let's just leave it like this because we knew that was working last time, and then we'll do the password, which we know is GNS3, and now let's set the transfer on commit flag. Do a show pipe display set relative. Oops. Why did it? Oh, okay. Yeah. So we set, so the reason it's COMMI and it didn't autocomplete is because we set another location. So it thinks that this is a DNS resolvable address. So let's get rid of that. And then now that those options as to when it actually backs up the device, those are under the configuration hierarchy, not the archive sites hierarchy. So let's set it to transfer on commit. Okay, so now we're good to go. And I don't think it'll happen in this commit, but let's do something like change description. And hopefully when we go over to the server, we'll see a special file with the name of the router. So it'll be R3, and then it will have the date, the time, and then it'll even be zipped. So really not a ton of, So yep, not a ton of extra data going over the link because those zip files can be pretty small. It looks like it's 512. I think I can do a -H. Yeah. So this is kilobytes. So it's only 513 bytes. Like that's, yeah. So it's bytes. So that's pretty big. You know, we're measuring in bytes, not bits. So it's going to be 8 times bigger than anything in bits. So it can get big fast, but I mean, we're measuring in bytes. Like that's a really small measurement. So yeah, these are all good. And yeah, you can see anytime I commit, and that's interesting that it did take the first commit, but let's commit a second time and then run that again. It might take a little bit of time for it to populate, either that or it's, oh, did it, I guess I'm confused why it didn't, oh, maybe I rolled back. Let's see here, show system, roll back, compare 1, 0. Okay, yeah, so I just removed that description. I don't understand why I didn't get another one. Okay, so here we go. So now it looks like if I roll back and commit, it doesn't back it up. So let's do a rollback one, commit and quit. And yeah, unfortunately it doesn't log those rollbacks. That's kind of interesting that you have to have a special thing depending on the kind of commit you do. It kind of sucks. But I mean, proof of concept, yeah, you can dive into this deep and spend a day in kind of lost land, trying to figure out and troubleshoot how to get this to work and fit your needs. But yeah, it's really nice. And then you can see grep-r pipe and pipe or grep pipe or sorry, grep interface. God damn it, they're always out of the freaking salad. All right, so oops, and it's taken a while. Okay, so I needed grep-r as I thought I did, but let's do a grep-r, and then let's look for all those commands that we entered. That's interesting. Oh, right, of course, because they're zipped. I forgot about that. So let's, yeah, so you'd have to unzip them in order to search through them, unfortunately, which would be kind of inconvenient. But you do have backups here. And yeah, you can unzip them. I wonder if there's a way to just easy unzip them to, so let's say move backups, and we're going to do R3 star. Oops, and we're going to do mkdir backups first. Now we're going to do, oops, I think it's got to be the other way around. Backups, perfect. Oh, didn't work still. Oh, right, move is MV. Okay, so there we go. So now if I go to backups, now I've got all of these here, so I can do a tar dash, I think it's VFZ star. Let's look up the unzip command. Oops, and this is Lubuntu, which we're using Ubuntu. So to unzip a zip file, it's I thought there was a, like, you didn't have to use that. You could just use like tar. So yeah, okay, so it's CVF. Okay, instead of Z, it sounds the same. Oops, still not working. Ah, there we go. Oops. But that didn't work. We've got a, yeah, and if I print one of these out, you're gonna see, yep, it's compiled, or not compiled, it's zipped, so we're not gonna be able to see the contents until we unzip it. So let's find a command to do that. So Yeah, I thought it was just like this. CVZF. Yeah, I'm surprised this is not working. Okay, well, Ubuntu unzip tar ball to the same folder. Here we go. This looks like it's right. So tar xf. Let's try that. And then okay, well, let's try a specific one. So it's going to be R3 underscore, and then the date. All right, and then time. So 2020-0505, then the times, they were all about the same time. So let's do the soonest one. So I'm surprised it's not auto-completing. 2020-0505, Juniper.conf.gz. Oops. Does not look like a tar archive. Really? Maybe our, yeah, so maybe, no? Oh, conf.o.gz. Okay, I see. Unzip. So we unzipped them when they were tars, but we got to unzip a GZ. So unzip GZ file Linux. Yep. So now, we got to do gunzip. So, yep. So gunzip space. There we go. That should do it. Yeah, I thought this is what we had to do. We tried it, but it didn't work because we had the tar.gz, but let's do gunzip and then star.gz. So here we go. Now we're in business. So L3 underscore 2020 0505 110 623 Juniper. Oh my God, and it's still not in plain text. Okay, so let's see here. -al. So what kind of file type we want to convert this? So let's do convert juniper.conf to plain text. Convert juniper.conf to plain text. So convert or export. So yeah. I thought all we needed to do was unzip it, but looks like it's going to need more than that. Let's check the official documentation. Okay, so that's no good. So let's say .conf juniper file Yeah, so I'm not sure. So here's the file we've got. It's .conf.gz, but you can see we were able to unzip it. So it's just a .conf file now, but unfortunately we can't cat it out. Yeah, even if we go into Vi, it's still just a file that's not in a format that we can read. Unknown suffix. Yeah, and here we can't even use a tar. Yeah, and I think this isn't working because it's not a .tar. So, yeah, I wish these were more readable. I don't understand why I can't look at these files. Oops. Oh, I added an extra 2. Yeah, so it's not working here. So let's yeah, let's kind of start over, delete all of these files. So rm-rf backups, and let's get a new one to work with. I just think it might be easier to work with a new one that hasn't been subject to all the things we've tried so far. So I didn't make any changes, so that's not going to show up. So let's do a edit, or let's do a set, and then let's do, or let's just do an annotate, and then we'll annotate the system configuration part, and we'll say this has been annotated, and then we'll do a commit on that. And then we'll look in the configuration and see our annotation. So under the system, so we'll do show configuration, show configuration system. Oops, I actually don't see the annotation. Let's see if the commit triggered a backup. It did not. So let's go back and do a show system here. Yeah, so it looks like our annotation didn't make it in there. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, here's the annotation. So, but it looks like we only get it in our candidate config. So if I were to commit that and quit that, oops, show configuration, it wouldn't show up. Oh yeah, it is showing up, okay. So I'm not sure why it didn't show up before, maybe because I had an exclamation point. But yep, now we got our backup. So let's make a mkdir backups. Now let's move that over to it. Now let's go to CD backups, and now let's see if we can unzip the GZ file so that we can read it. So let's do convert.gz into cat file. So yeah. Let's see if we can cat this out somehow. So it's going to be, maybe we can just do a ZCAT. We can. So look at that. So you can leave it compressed. So that's really nice because uncompressing that is going to considerably take up a bit more space. So you don't have to have the files in their uncompressed larger form. You can keep them nice and small and just use ZCAT and see everything. So let's take a look at, let's use the grep. Oops, and I'm gonna need to make this a bit smaller so I can see everything. And I can do a grep interfaces. Oops, sorry. Oh, but I don't know how to use the grep if it's all ZCAT. What I can do is ZCAT, and I can do like star and then redirect it out to unzipped.txt. Yeah, and then I can do like grep unzipped.txt, and then I can do like interfaces or interface. I can do like -f, I think. Oh, right. Oh, no, I got to do it the other way around. So I've got to do grep interface and then where I want to search. So I want to search unzip.txt. There we go. So see how nice that is. So yeah, and then I can, let me get another, let me get another file. So it looks like I've already gotten one. Let's do another one even. So we've got show. So we've got our annotation in there. Let's roll back that configuration so we don't have that anymore. It looks like the annotation, this has been annotated, made it into the actual commit. Okay, yeah. So you only see it there. Let's roll back that one as well. So, yep, we're going to get rid of that. Commit and quit. We're going to do a show, so we don't have any more show configuration. We don't have any more annotations. So the annotation shows up above the area you're in. So if I'm going to annotate chassis, so annotate chassis, and I say chassis annotation, and then I commit and quit. So if I do show configuration chassis, I'm not going to see my annotation because the annotation shows up above the above there. So if I want to get it to show up differently, I've got to do edit edit chassis, and now I've got to do annotate, and I've got to pick something under here to annotate. I can't just annotate chassis itself because the annotation goes above. So let's do a show pipe display set relative, and we can see I do have a command under chassis, so I can annotate above the command. So the way the annotation command works, and let's see if there's any clues. Annotate the statement with a comment is it lists the comment above the statement. So whichever statement you choose, you're going to have an annotation above that statement, so you can't print out the configuration for that statement and see the annotation. You've got to print it out one level higher than that statement. But what you can always do is if you want it to appear underneath chassis, then you can annotate network services, for example, and say this will appear under chassis. So now if I do a commit and quit, and then I do a show configuration chassis, now it appears under. So I have an annotation both above and under, but that's how that annotation command works. So let's roll those back. And hopefully all of our annotations will disappear. Oops, so we're gonna have one more annotation. So let's roll back 4 instead of 3. Let's roll back 5. Roll back 6 maybe. Okay, so now all of our annotations will disappear if I roll back 6. So we'll do a show configuration, pipe display set. Or let's just do a show configuration because I'm not sure if those annotations show up if you've got display set. That's something I'm actually going to do real quick. So configure private, roll back 1, commit and quit. So now we've got some more annotations. So let's look at those annotations, show configuration. So yep, here's our annotation above and below JNCIE. So now let's do a show configuration pipe display set and see if we've got those annotations. So yep, when you do a display set, you don't get the annotations. They only show up if you display it in this sort of format. So that's, I think, good to know. Back 1. But now we've got all kinds of backups to play with. So let's move them into the folder we want to have them in. So we're going to do NV R3 star to backups. And now we'll change to backups. Take a look at the, oh, they actually haven't all moved there for some reason. Okay, so we had some extra ones that hadn't made it all the way across the link yet. So let's remove unzipped.txt, and then let's do a ZCAT R3 star and redirect the output to unzipped.txt. So now we can do a grep interfaces. And then in the unzipped.txt file, oops. So now we get all sorts of extra information. We can do like a -B. So we'll see 4 lines before. We got to match what that looks like. Yep, so every time there's a match, it's going to be highlighted in red, and we're going to see the 4 lines before that match. So this was kind of a good place to match because we can see, and then we can do a pipe less. So we can paginate the output that we started without any of those annotations. Then we added the annotations. We added one to the top, then we added one to the bottom. Then we got rid of them. We added one to the bottom again, and then we got rid of them. So much faster way of checking the configurations. They're all aggregated in the same place. They're all really nice and easy to work with. They're tiny files. They're already zipped. Really kind of no reason not to have this set up in your network unless you're running over like T-links and you don't want and every bit of bandwidth is precious. This thing can really save you and your network. And then you're not just relying on your technicians to have proper logging set up on their equipment. You've got layers of safety measures. It kind of falls in themes with the lessen your failures, because if there's somebody that fails to back up their terminal screen, something goes wrong, well, they can just jump on your jump server here, and they can say, oh no, but I know I did this on router 3 and I just did it now, so this is the file it belongs to, so I can just do a ZCAT R3 2020 0505 112 829, and there's the configuration file. Just grab the whole thing, copy, and then paste it in the device. So Yeah, and then R3, we know SSH 192.168.0.3. I didn't set up remote management on it, so connection is refused, but in your network, you'll be doing that. So you've already got a place you can connect to it from, and it makes everything really nice and easy to set up that configuration backup. So yeah, really glad I got that working. It was kind of a journey, but I figured it out. So I hope you enjoyed it. Leave any questions in the comments. I'm gonna say this isn't the last video in this. I'm gonna do one more video because I've got one more topic to go over in this. So, oops, let's see here. So, JNCIE, there we go. This is the folder. So we're going to go to the device infrastructure and automation implementation archival. So this is what we're looking at right now, what we're working on. So we got one more resource to go to cross off. So I think I'll do one more video after work, the after work video where we read this and get a better understanding, maybe do some of these examples, especially now that we got it working. And then we'll be moving on to the next topic, which will be scripts, OP event commit scripts. So really interesting stuff. Thanks for watching. Hope you liked it, and stay tuned for more.